Hello, I'm Talley Goodson, founder of Feltright.
I'd love to introduce our next guest, Talley Goodson, who's the founder of Feltright. Talley, you're fascinating to me. As a fellow entrepreneur, you have not only started Feltright, but prior to Feltright, you were the founder of Freeform.
Yeah, I was sort of born into it. I was born into the whole entrepreneurial thing. My father and grandfather all started these crazy businesses. And yeah, back in, I actually had a good job before I quit it and came back to found Feltright. My father had founded what became Freeform. That was in 2002. And I can still remember the feeling of quitting my job to go back and I bought the company to try to turn around something that was losing money. We needed to rebrand it. And I moved back to the States from Singapore, where I worked for a technology company. And the first conversation I had was with the landlord, who said, we're 8 months behind in rent. And I looked around and said, we're going to throw you guys out. And I'm looking around going, you guys got any money? And they're like, we don't have any money. And so I had to raise money, turn that thing around. We branded it as Freeform, grew it, and eventually sold that to Hunter Douglas.
And fast forward to today, founder of Feltright. You're focused primarily on what I would refer to the acoustics category.
We are focused on creating sustainable, beautiful materials that work hard. And so when I say work hard, I mean do more than one thing. So first and foremost, our materials are sustainable. They're made responsibly. Secondly, they're absolutely beautiful. So the materials and the ability to create these stunning designs is really unmatched, but they also work hard, right? So our materials are acoustic and they absorb sound. And, I happened to found this thing during COVID. Everybody shut up in their houses, and suddenly we all realized that acoustics matter even in our homes. And I, pointed the brand. Because it was during COVID, I said, I need an e-commerce solution for this. And my wife lent me some money. My wife gave me some of her capital and said, listen, I'm going to invest in this. One criteria, you have to be cash flow positive by the end of year one. And I said, well, I'll take that challenge on. And so by the end of year one, the end of 2020, we were cash flow positive.
How did you hear about Material Bank?
So that's a great question. I met Adam in our showroom in New York City back when I was running Freeform. Adam and I met, and I forget the year. It was a while ago. And Adam, we'd had a couple of conversations. Adam sort of went on to describe his vision for what he wanted to create, which was basically, a clearinghouse for A&D samples. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. That's like a big idea. And if you can pull that off, that will be awesome. You guys have just knocked it. You guys have crushed it. It's amazing.
Thank you for those kind words. And I normally thank guests for joining Material Bank, but you're really truly responsible for bringing two giants ultimately to Material Bank. My question to you is, how did Material Bank help you? Because you launched during a very precarious time period. How did we help you in establishing this brand inside of the ecosystem of A&D?
So Material Bank, really without any promotion, suddenly we start seeing kind of all these leads generated, and then the interface kind of gives you an easy way to follow up on those. And so it was it was really cool to see that. And just really from day one, we put we have this sort of amazing color collection. So we have all of our samples. I think we have 36 different beautiful colors, and we have all of our samples in the Material Bank warehouse. And the warehouse tells us like when they run out and when we need to replenish and that kind of thing. But it's been great. It's given, our A&D clients. So we don't have salespeople everywhere. We do have a limited A&D sales force, but we don't have salespeople in every city. Like at Freeform, we have like 100 salespeople and they're everywhere. I think the market has changed a little bit.
I'm fascinated because you've really redefined even quick ship, right? You're getting an order that is for us, a sample. We generate the lead, we give it to you. You have the capabilities you just mentioned of delivering the final product in 1 week.
Our whole world is quick ship, and in many cases it's 1 to 2 days. And what we find is these contractors will call up and say, hey, when can I have that? And we'll tell them a date. I'll say, hey, do you mind just holding on to that for a little while and just hang on to that and send it to us? We don't need it quite that soon. But there are cases where they do need it fast, and it really works out. We just did the White House press room, and they needed these printed PET felt panels that had the logos of all the different news organizations. So it was Bloomberg and CNN. They needed it all customized and installed in the White House press room. And for some reason, whatever they had spec did not work out, and they needed it in 2 weeks, start to finish. And we were able to meet their timeline. Pricing was great, and there it is.
You just shared some amazing projects. Share with me more that you were able to obtain from Material Bank leads.
We do so many. It's fun to see the variety of customers that end up on Material Bank that actually order samples, because it could be obviously commercial interior designers, and we recognize the firms, so we see all the big firms ordering from Material, Gensler and HOK, and we recognize those names. We'll see residential interior designers who order things from Material Bank, and we service them. And then we also see just end users. It could be a university, maybe like, say, for example, a university facilities department. NASA orders stuff directly from us. NASA somehow has found out they found out about Feltrite. They're like, wow, this stuff is awesome. I don't know if there's a designer involved or not, but they just get online. We just see these orders coming through from NASA. And then we have this one part of our website where you can design logos. So they got us and said, hey, can you help us with that NASA logo? We said, sure, no problem. And they just keep ordering it. And they even post reviews. You can post reviews on our site. This stuff is awesome. NASA.
Inside of the commercial A&D world, have we become the single largest lead source for you at Feltrite?
I do believe that Material Bank has become the largest lead source for us on the commercial side of our business, and it's been exciting to see that grow. I mean, we regularly update. I love that you have a brand page at Material Bank, and we update that with projects and new products. And as we've done that over time, we've seen the lead count grow, and Material Bank's undoubtedly the largest source of commercial leads for us today. And so it's really just a symbiotic relationship. Love what you're doing.
Thank you for those kind words. What do you monitor on a day-to-day basis as the founder of Feltrite? What reports do you look at to gauge the quality of your business and direction?
I tend to look at customer feedback. I tend to be very customer focused and forward leaning. And the thing that I'm always looking at is just kind of completed projects and the response from the customer. So when they walk in and they see it and they just say, oh my word, this is the coolest thing that I've ever seen. And I love seeing that. We get videos back where they'll take videos and show us what they're doing. If you are, creating that wow, if customers are just like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever, you're going to have good business. And so I've always just been focused on that, just making sure that we are, on the one hand, innovative, so that we always have something new. There's a reason to come back to the Feltrite website always. And secondly, that we are delivering something that is fresh and unique and that no one else has. And at the end of the day, it translates into, wow, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Because, interiors, I'm a firm believer that interior spaces matter. And that, when interior spaces that are thoughtfully designed, that have, good acoustics and all of that, it makes a difference. It makes a difference in our day and how we feel. And so that's really what I focus on, is making sure our customers are ecstatic. We also, speaking of acoustics, we focus on, we work with a nonprofit called Culture City. They're based in Atlanta, and we create sensory rooms around the country for neurodiverse individuals who may have more difficult time filtering out background noise. And the statistics are that somewhere around 20% of the population suffers from some kind of an invisible disability that may be related to autism, sensory processing disorder, or some kind of PTSD. And whereas you and I may be able to walk into a Target store at rush hour and that noise doesn't bother us, these individuals simply can't do that. It's overwhelming. They could be in a sports arena and it becomes an overwhelming type of situation. And so felt right as we provide material for these sensory rooms in airports, in shopping centers, in sports arenas, in public places.
That's remarkable. Hats off to you guys. That's really doing a lot of amazing work for mankind. I'd love for you to share a little bit more about your sustainability story. Your past has always been one of sustainability, but you've brought that forward. It seems to me that you've brought a number of business lessons forward. One of them seems to be Material Bank, but I'd love to get a sense as to what you're doing from a sustainability perspective.
Absolutely.
For our audience.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And as you mentioned, it's a lifetime journey. I mean, when I was in college, I lived in a tent in the mountains, and I think I'd read Thoreau's book, and I took it. I lived in a tent for a semester, and I've always felt a deep connection to the wilderness. I love to surf, and for better or for worse, my wife claims I probably spend a bit too much time going on surf trips. But you'll go to these beautiful, pristine environments, and all of a sudden you see all of this single-use plastic in the water, and it's disturbing. It's a problem. And our marine environments are more sensitive to degradation. In many ways, our reefs are the canary in the coal mine when it comes to environmental degradation. And so as I saw that, as I've encountered that, and I felt an increasing need to continue to do things well. And plastic, I mean, here's the other important thing. Plastic in and of itself is not a bad material. Plastic gets a bad rap because of single-use plastic. So when we use plastic itself does not degrade. It's a durable material. It can be machined. It can be formed. It can be used very responsibly. However, when it's used in as a water bottle or a grocery bag or whatever, that's just an irresponsible way to use plastic, because some of that is recycled, but much of it ends up in a landfill or in an ocean where it simply doesn't belong and where it causes great harm. And so I love the ideas I came across, felt right in this technology where we're able to take single-use plastic and repurpose that into durable, beautiful, lasting material. That just makes sense to me. And so being able to do that. And then beyond that, I think part of what I feel like I've learned a lot is how do you create an organization that is focused on sustainability and because it takes more than the CEO or the founder. I mean, I'll have certain ideas, but if you can get everyone in your organization thinking about sustainability as they develop products, as they set up manufacturing, suddenly all these ideas start to bubble up. And that's something that I feel like I've committed much of my professional career to, is how do we create that inclusive organization? The key is how do we help people feel like they can take the next step, feel included, and feel a sense of mission and purpose as an organization, and dedicate time and bandwidth to fleshing out ideas and bubbling up the best ones to the top.
Incredible. That was well said. And you exude through everything that you've done a true commitment to sustainability. Now, I'd love to get some insight from you, because we don't get to speak too often to a founder who started two brands that have both been on Material Bank. What would you say to other players inside the A&D ecosystem, brands that are considering joining Material Bank who've been apprehensive to date? Some of them may be your competitors. What would you say to them?
Well, I think the thing about Material Bank is it kind of levels the playing field to some degree. I mean, particularly, you may or may not have a full A&D sales force, but one thing that's super clear is that certainly the A&D community has embraced Material Bank, right? I just think the model makes a ton of sense. And if you are a manufacturer and maybe you don't have a sales rep in, Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever, St. Louis, but there's certainly a big design community there. So if you want to serve that design community in my way, there's no more frictionless way to do that than have a presence on Material Bank. I think it's a no-brainer.
I'd love the audience to learn a little bit more about your brand. Many of the designers may not be familiar with Feltrite. You have collections that you have that are always available, but you also have an incredible ability to create customized solutions for this audience. Share with us some of those features and capabilities.
The thing that people are always blown away by is when you log in and just see Feltrite designs and kind of these design inspirations, it's almost unlimited. And you can just scroll through these, and somewhere you will find the inspiration that you need for your next project. And in many cases, that may be just our standard parametric customization system where you can work with, we have 15 thoughtfully curated shapes, 36 beautiful colors, and we collaborate with Lori Weissner. Lori Weissner is a wonderful, kind of just an amazing color guru, and she and I have been friends for 20 years. And so when I founded Feltrite, the first thing I did is I called Lori and I said, Lori, we need to work on color together. Let's do this together. And so we had this world-class color palette, 36 colors, 15 thoughtfully curated shapes, and those all come together in our design studio. And so as you put that all together, you have unlimited options.
Talley, from founding two amazing giants inside of this A&D ecosystem, from projects that range from NASA to the White House to the Hewlett-Packard headquarters and training centers, I want to thank you for your time today. On behalf of Material Bank, we are always here to support you.